AITA for asking my roommate to replace what she ruined. I am a college student living with other college students in a student living apartment complex near campus. That is the most college freaking sentence I've ever read.
It is, yeah.
I was randomly assigned roomies when I moved in December. There are 4 of us, and we have repeatedly had problems with one of our roomies. She's consistently dirty, disrespectful of others' property, and obnoxiously loud at 2 a.m. When things pop up, we typically say something polite, and she usually apologizes profusely, but she never changes. We share all of our dishes and kitchen things, and as an example, she repeatedly will leave other people's dishes dirty and crusty. I don't think it's too much to ask that you be respectful about cleaning and taking care of another person's dishes when you use them. Today, I opened our cabinet to find my pampered chef micro cooker completely ruined. This is a small plastic pot that you can put in your microwave and is my favorite thing for cooking soups, beans, etc. It looks like she tried to put it on the stove because the bottom is completely bubbled and melted. My assumption is that she got drunk, as she often does, and tried to use it to cook something on the stove, and then just freaked out and put it back in the cabinet. One of my roommates has been out of town, and I straight up asked my other roommate if she knew what happened to it, and she looked as shocked and disappointed as I was. So basically, I know it was her. I'm sure it was an accident, and it's only a $20 item, but this feels like the last straw for me. AITA if I ask her to buy me a new one or pay me back so I can buy a new one? My lease ends in July, and I won't have to see her again after that.
This roommate certainly sounds like an asshole. I'm not necessarily, of course, I don't think the submitter would be an asshole for asking the roommate to replace it. I do think that she needs to actually find out what happened to it first.
Is she an asshole for just jumping in and being like, hey, that was $20. Can you please give me that? Without asking first, hey, did you,
Yeah, she needs to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, just because she's like a shithead roommate doesn't mean that because honestly, like, it's funny. She's like, oh, I know it wasn't the other roommate because she looked as shocked and disappointed as I was. And I'm like, you know how easy it is to feign shock and disappointment?
Ashton Weinberger writes, despite all the other negatives you listed, I think the main offense here is she accidentally broke something and didn't tell you. Yeah, but submitter doesn't know that
Yeah, she
yet.
allegedly broke something of yours and didn't tell you.
Kevin Hendricks writes, you are for sure allowed to ask this person to replace your thing. From there, it's up to them to be gracious about it and for you to devote only $20 of your headspace worrying about whether this crumb bum makes it right. I think this person shouldn't ask for the money if they can avoid it.
Yeah, also, if it was only $20, just buy a new one and just tell all of your roommates, like, hey, so I don't know what happened, but my Pampered Chef thingy got all burned. So, like, it's fine. I replaced it. But just so you guys know, it can't go on the stoves.
Right.
You know, like, just grow up.
Is this just being passive aggressive? What I was going to say is what I think submitter should do is once she knows that this person is guilty of what she thinks, that she should kind of be like, hey, like generally, you know, when you break someone's thing, you got to replace it and not demand it and not ask it directly and let her figure it out.
So you're one of those people. You're one of those people that thinks that you should teach them versus actually giving people consequences.
I think sometimes that works.
That's way more condescending. Like, sorry, so usually when you break something, you're supposed to replace it. Like, I hate that. You shouldn't do that. I think with roommates specifically, you need to be direct. And I don't think that you owe them any kid gloves. I think that with roommates, you need to set boundaries and you need to be direct. I think passive aggressiveness is like what kills relationships between roommates. The only way to make everybody happy is just to be upfront about what you need and what your boundaries are. And that girl either needs to buy herself a new one and start over, or she needs to ask the roommate if she did it. And if she fesses up, then say, cool, it was $20. I'd like you to buy me another one. Or she should just buy a new one and then tell everybody not to touch it or not to put it on the stove.
I think Jenny has it right. The move here is to be direct. And I think a lot of people would read the title of this and think, AITA for asking my roommate to replace what she ruined. No, that's basic human decency. It is. And anyone would really come to know this. But I think the thing, and I'm noticing this on the subreddit and in general, is that a lot of people in our culture don't understand assertive or direct with aggressive. And asking her to just pay for it is assertive. And there's nothing aggressive about it. I mean, once she knows that she's stolen it.
Yeah, passive aggression is the death of roommate relationships, and being direct and upfront and letting your roommates know what you expect and how, especially if they're not being respectful of your belongings and your personal space or your whatever it is that you need.
AITA for asking my roommate to replace what she ruined. I'm saying no assholes here. I'm not sold that the roomie necessarily is lying or anything like that. I don't think that's a fair assumption.
Right. I agree. I don't think anyone's an asshole here.